Warning! If you might be offended by foul language or off-colour jokes, now is the time to kindly f*** off.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Londoner Calling Soccer Pubcast. As always, I am joined with Barry Tate. Today's episode, we're going to go over the weekend that was in the Premier League, kind of breeze through that. We're going to talk about the most clinical number 9 that we've both seen in our lifetimes. And then we got some stories. We have a great interview with Michael Peticolas coming up, Everton and USA soccer supporter. I think we have a great episode coming up, Barry.
Yeah, and then I'll talk about, I'll always tell stories of London or me growing up in London, and then we'll go with some, I'm not going to do Cockney rhyming slang today.
Yeah, we will do Wanker of the week though.
Oh, and I'm also going to tell you where the word wank comes from. Because we use the word.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, folks.
I mean, obviously you know what it is.
You know what it is. You know what a wank is, yeah.
Well,
Barry, how we doing today?
I got a face, look.
Yeah?
Chelsea
won yesterday.
Yeah, I know,
you
but for
smile.
some reason, I just caught this thing of reflecting myself, and I thought, that miserable fucker. Yeah,
Well,
I'm not.
all right.
I'm not inside.
That sounds like it needs some therapy. But anyways, we'll move on from that part. Well, that's a deeper issue for another day. I think you look great for what it's worth, Barry. I think you look terrific. I love coming here. All right, let's start with the show. Okay. Arsenal 2-1 Brentford. Merry Marchverts to all who celebrate. It is the month of Kai Havertz. That is 6 goal contributions in his last 4 Premier League games. He has matched his best ever goal scoring season in the Premier League. He won it with Chelsea with 8 goals. He's on fire. We're on fire. That's 8 wins in a row. And for those who know, Liverpool and Man City drew 1-1. Arsenal are now top of the Premier League table, only on goal difference. I think we are in for an all-time title race right now. There is 1 point separating the top 3 teams. Like I said, I think Arsenal on 64, Liverpool 64, Man City.
And how many games left?
10.
10. I mean, that's
and
as much as Chelsea aren't involved in it, which is a shame, we'll be there next year.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good to have that.
How fun is that?
Not just 2 teams. To have the 3 makes it that much better.
You never have I think the last time that we had 3 this close was 2018-19, and it was Liverpool, City, and Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs finished 4th. But it's just brilliant, I think, for anyone that follows the league and is a fan of it, to have such high-quality footy at the top of the table and have everyone just going for it. Again, there's limited Premier League this coming weekend because of FA Cup, but I do want to mention the next Premier League game for Arsenal and Man City are facing each other on March 31st at the Etihad. Yeah. That's the last collision between those 3 giants at the top of the table. So it's a massive 6-pointer. I just want to point that out there. The next game is huge.
So you were mouthing off the beer a little while about Kai Havertz and how he's tremendous and,
Yeah, he is.
Player of the year and all this shit.
I want to say, you said it, not me, but yeah.
Do you know, I mentioned it earlier, that we were talking about some players, they play 2 sports. Mm-hmm. It's like you said, Darryl Strawberry.
Mm-hmm. Bo Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Kai Havertz, you didn't know that.
Tell me what he played.
He's actually going to be in the Olympics this year.
For?
Diving.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about how when he got hit on the thigh?
How he should have fucking could have got a red card, and you got no shame. He didn't get clipped.
He did. If you watch the play.
Anyway, he's going to be in Paris at the Olympics. Kai Havertz for Germany.
I can't wait to cover more Kai Havertz then. Yeah. Hell yeah, I can't wait to cover that. No, it wasn't a dive. It wasn't. He did get clipped on the thigh. You watched, there was thigh-to-thigh contact there. It's okay. You can see what you want to see. I think it would have been harsh for a second yellow. I'm super biased. Havertz's name is on the back of my jersey.
You're not super. Don't ever say you're biased.
I'm a little biased.
Fucking hell.
Anyways, we can move on from Arsenal. Man United beat Everton 2-0. Again, Man United won with 2 penalties, but I think that we both agree here that they weren't the better team on the day.
They weren't, and they haven't been for a while with the games they played.
Last week I went over by the stats and the shots and everything, right?
Against Fulham, they actually got what they deserved. They got beat. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't have won the game this week, and I don't think they should win any fucking games the rest of the season. They've got to play. I told you today, Chelsea, if they win their game in hand, we're going to be 5 points behind Man United. We've still got to play them. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to finish. We will finish above Manchester United.
Wow. That's a big claim. But I like it. I like it.
I'll tell you what, I make 2 claims. Okay. We're going to finish above Manchester United this season. And next season, we're going to finish above fucking everybody. All right, we've got it.
I need your drug dealer's phone number ASAP because you are on some terrific shit. Apparently, like you must just have the hookup of you must have
never done. Life is my drug.
There you go. Let's move on from there. Tottenham versus Villa was a very sneaky big game this weekend because they're right there competing for that 4th spot. Villa still own it. They're 2 points above Spurs. Spurs have a game in hand that they will actually get to cash in on this Saturday because they're out of the FA Cup, so they'll play Fulham this weekend.
Arsenal out of the FA Cup as well?
Yeah, we're out of the FA Cup as well.
So Chelsea's the only London team left?
Yeah. No, I'm really glad. If you want to watch us play in Europe, though, we play today. Or if you want to like...
I'll see you. It'll be your last day in Europe. It'll be your last day today.
Last day. Okay, we'll see. We're recording this on a Tuesday before Arsenal play Porto, by the way, for everyone worried. So by the time...
1-0.
By the time... Yeah, we are losing 1-0 on aggregate. Chelsea... haven't conceded a goal in the Champions League this year, actually.
No, we're doing good. Yeah,
really impressive from you. I think we talked about this a while ago, and I, against my better judgment, said I believe that Spurs will finish 4th, and Unai Emery is going to Unai Emery, and I think he did this game. For the first time this year, he lined up with a back 5. I don't know why you would try new tactics in your biggest game of the year when other stuff has been so successful for you. So love to see that he's still doing what he does best and ruining things later in the season for teams' hopes.
So you say it's what would you call it? Because I think it's being brave.
I think it's the opposite of being brave. I think dropping that back against Spurs is not being brave. I think Spurs want to play with a high line, and I think that Villa have the players such as an Ollie Watkins or a Diaby who came on later, or a Leon Bailey with the pace. I thought they could get behind them. I know Van de Ven is fast, but I think they have chances.
I'm not saying what he did was right, but he was brave enough to think, I think we'll try this.
Maybe. I think that it was...
And you're putting it down that, I've seen this show before.
I have. I think it was a little... I'm lacking the word here. I think it was just a little...
Arsenal?
Not Arsenal, because we're top of the league and haven't lost in months. You have 2 wins in 6 games, so, keep it there. Keep it over there. But...
How many years have you waited to be like this?
Oh, I'm always like this.
I know you're always a prick, but how many years have you waited to be like this, Arsenal, giving it to a Chelsea fan?
I have. I'll give it to Chelsea fan. I would give it to Chelsea fans no matter what. We had your number for a minute.
Don't know how many EPL.
When's the last time you beat us?
League.
When's the last time you beat us?
It'll be the next time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's been like 3 years, hasn't it?
It'll be the next time.
Yeah, okay, cool. Last time I think you beat us, I might have been in college. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Yeah. All right.
I don't ever say stuff that shuts me up.
All right, some big moves at the bottom. Luton scored a late goal to get a point, which was big for them as they kept...
And it was late.
It was late. Yeah. It was as late as could be.
Probably it was last kick, wasn't it?
It was the last, roughly last kick, yeah, against Palace. 1-1 there. Burnley and Sheffield both bottled 2-0 leads this week. I feel like that's got to be a gravestone for them, having a 2-0 lead against Bournemouth, having a 2-0 lead Burnley had against West Ham. Both games ended 2-2. I mean, is that not a microcosm of their year of just there's so much hope coming into the league and just crash and burn?
They're down, and we know it. I mean, there's
14 points at this stage in the season with 28 games played. It's done for them, in my opinion.
They're both down unless there's a miracle.
Agreed.
I mean, if there's a miracle, I'll be dating Sidney Crawford. I don't believe in miracles.
Speaking of miracles, Chelsea picked up a win this week against Newcastle, 3-2. Mudryk with a brilliant goal. Do you think that he's maybe... Yeah, I thought it was a great little news by him.
And he scored last time he played against Newcastle.
He did, yeah. Cole Palmer, your player of the season by a mile right now. He has the most...
Cool Palmer, they call him.
Oh, gee. He gave himself that nickname, didn't he?
It doesn't matter. He's entitled to.
Yeah, I don't like giving yourself a nickname.
Palmer.
Yeah. So he's at... Yeah, I was going to actually praise him. I don't even want to since you're calling him Cool Palmer, but I still will.
He didn't dive and cheat like Havertz.
Yeah, he's also not at the top of the table like Havertz, though, is he?
Got time. He's only 21.
Yeah. He actually has the most goal contributions in the Premier League for any player under the age 21 or under, and he got the second most of any U23 player. He has 19 goal contributions, 11 goals, 8 assists in the Premier League. Well, that's what happens
when you're playing in a shit team. You're the best player.
He's the man. Yeah, like I said, there's only one U23 player in the league has more goal contributions than him. That's Bukayo Saka.
Do you think England will call him up?
I think he has to. I think it would be really harsh considering his form, and not only his form, but the team that he's doing it in, because let's be real, he's not surrounded by the wealthiest talent right now, right? I'm not saying that Chelsea are bad, but like, you look at the side that Man City's rolling out that Foden gets to play with every week, right? With De Bruyne and Rodri and that midfield type-esque thing. Palmer doesn't have that luxury, so I really think he deserves an even call-up.
Just had a thought in my head, which I do from time to time. Do you think Klopp is going to cry the last game of the season?
I don't know.
Not because he's leaving, it's because Liverpool finished second.
I don't know. I think
Which one will it be?
I think that he's going to be really sad when the ribbons on the Premier League are red, but not for his Liverpool. That's what I think. That's what I think. So,
like I said, being a Tottenham fan, which I'm not,
Of course, I know.
Every year, I keep saying it, every year, yeah, we're going to do it. And they've still got that. But I mean, what the fuck have they won this year?
Nothing.
Okay.
They're out of the FA Cup. They're out of the League Cup. They're fighting for Champions League is what their season is now.
I mean, if they get it. Okay.
And they're right there. If they win their game in hand,
but I'm still getting texts from them. Yeah, what the fuck? Text me when you can take a picture of a fucking nice piece of silverware. All these bollocks were finishing fourth. You're not finishing fourth. You're finishing fifth.
All right, I'm going to stand by my prediction. I still think they finish fourth. I think they get that fourth spot.
How can you call yourself an Arsenal fan?
Because I'm trying to be logical here.
You're an Arsenal fan.
I am.
Logic
I don't
doesn't
like this.
come into it.
It does a little bit actually. I'm trying to be serious with my takes. And in all seriousness, I think that Spurs get fourth.
You fancy Sam Bird as a Tottenham fan, don't you?
God no, I would never date a woman that supports
do.
Tottenham. No, I would not. I would not.
Did.
Really?
Yeah, my ex-wife's a Tottenham fan.
Yeah, no wonder. X right there. Yeah, right.
Twice an ex-wife.
Oh, wow, you went back to her. You went back to the Tottenham fan.
She came back to me.
She came back. They always do, don't they, Barry? They always do. Big old Barry over there, the ladies' man.
No, I've been married to her twice. She told me to fuck off twice.
Yeah?
But we all work together in the business. We're actually
Damn, you've had more marriages with her than Tottenham have trophies.
Honestly.
Anyways, so let's move on. The best number 9. We talked about this for a couple weeks. We've been meaning to talk about it on the show. Who in your lifetime is the most clinical best number 9 that you've seen? Like at the peak of their powers.
I don't know why. I read something. Van Nistelrooy.
Ruud van Nistelrooy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Just how many. I don't know why I was reading something. Just look at the statistics and see about that. But I think he was one of the ones that I wouldn't have thought about him there. One of the players that was I used to fucking hate him. Leeds United used to have a player called Alan Clark.
Okay.
And they called him Sniffer Clark.
Sniffer Clark.
He was always sniffing around the penalty area.
Yeah.
And any time there was a rebound or something, he was on it.
Fox in the box, if
Absolutely
you will. Yeah.
on it. Yeah, but Sniffer Clark, look, yeah, he was.
Is that for you the most clinical?
Well, when I say I stopped watching Chelsea when I got into my 17, 18 onwards, I was working.
Yeah.
I got my own business when I was 21, and never that. I worked in the market. I was working at weekends, so I actually stopped going to watch Chelsea.
Yeah.
But when I used to watch them, Leeds and Chelsea were a real used to kill
battle.
Each other.
Yeah, no, I know they have a rivalry.
Sniffer Clark.
Okay.
What a prick.
I think for me, growing up at the peak of his powers, I don't think there was a striker in the world better than Luis Suarez. I'm talking prime Barcelona, Suarez, Messi, Neymar, that trio. I still think back to the Champions League game against PSG where he just obliterated David Luiz.
I'm talking about centre forwards. But Suarez, what was he, number 10? Or
no, he was a centre forward. He was in the middle. He was the man.
He was 2'6", wasn't he?
It doesn't matter. He was the man in the middle for them, and he was brilliant.
Well, in fact, I think Steven Gerrard called him the magician.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
You think about what he did at Liverpool, and then you look at what he to get a move to Barcelona, to be the main man at Barcelona is no light feat in itself, but to be successful in that role, it was incredible to watch how much they dominated.
Because I'm behind the times, and all my memories and stuff like that is really old school. When I watch soccer, I still try and play, but I get all these different. Now there's all different formations. It's a high line and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, the false nine.
A false nine.
Yeah.
What the fuck's a false nine?
False nine is the best player example I can think of for our audience would be Roberto Firmino. Was a really good example of a false nine for Liverpool. Klopp would always say our defense starts with him. It's basically a striker.
I thought to me a false nine is. You got a number 9, the fucker can't score.
It's basically just a...
Isn't that a false nine?
No, that's not a false nine. Yeah, I get your logic. For Cockney slang, that would make sense, right? But false nine is just a striker that plays a little bit deeper, lets the wingers run off of him, is really kind of more of a connection of the attack rather than the pivotal focal point.
I think a false nine should be one that can't fucking
hit the net. A fake striker?
Cannot hit the net.
Yeah, a Nicholas Jackson, if you will.
Yeah, he scored.
Yeah, he did score. Yeah, I know. I had to throw that one in there. That was a nice little flick.
Yeah.
All right, and welcome into the interview section of our podcast. Today we are joined by Michael Peticolas. Michael, thank you for being here. For those who don't know, Michael is a big Everton fan. Obviously, not the best season so far, Michael, but how about you introduce yourself, talk a little bit how you fell in love with Everton and the sport a little bit.
Actually, before we ask him that, because we always start off with that question,
right?
I've got to ask you, how many of your beers did you drink before you chose Everton as yours?
Everton predated the brewery, so I guess zero is the answer to that. It's the first time the question to how many beers did I have was the answer 0. So good job.
All right, so let's get into it then. How did you fall in love with Everton? If it wasn't the beers, how did you come to be an Everton fan?
Yeah, hey, and it's two passions in life, beer and soccer. So once it really started for me, like it's U.S. international soccer. That's where it all started for me, World Cups. That's what garnered my attention here in Dallas, 96 or 94, whatever that
94.
was. But when it did come time to, hey man, you need to pick an English Premiership team, you do go down that little path of, all right, who do I pick? What do I pick? And, you know, it's a confluence of a lot of different things. I was not looking for a front runner. I wasn't going to just pick an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a Man U. That's too easy. That's like someone coming over here and rooting for the Yankees. You know how that goes. I wasn't going to pick a team that it hurt my eyes to watch them. Just their colors were so bad. I needed someone that, you know, I like blues. I like reds. But again, really, really sealed it for Everton was a number of things. First of all, they had, at the time, this is about 2006 when I was picking a team, and maybe the greatest U.S. footballer of all time, Tim Howard.
I was about to mention, it's got to be Tim Howard, right?
Was the keeper, right?
Yeah, of course.
And
for so long,
you know, you're really focusing in on, hey, who are the Americans playing abroad? And he was one of the only, and I mean, he's just dominating. He's fantastic. Well, it just so happens that Everton came and played some match in Frisco, like around that same time. So I'm like, well, I love Tim Howard, favorite player. I'm getting to see a team. They're blue and white colors I like. And you know what? They're sponsored at the time by Chang, which is a beer company maybe out of Thailand. I'm like, wait, there's beer. So they had everything for me. I've seen them play. They've got the best player that ever donned the American uniform or kit, I guess I should say.
Best American goalkeeper,
beer,
we'll say,
blue and white. Hey. I think he's in the conversation, whether we're talking goalkeeper, position player,
That's
whatever.
fair.
I don't
That's
know
totally
who else is
fair.
in that conversation, but there's probably not more than 3 or 4
Yeah, there's
people.
only a
And
couple
Casey
names.
Keller's probably another one, and maybe Brad Friedel too. And you know, I guess we could talk.
When did Landon Donovan?
Yeah, I mean,
When
heck,
did he join?
Landon was there probably at that same time frame. He was coming. Yeah, he was playing there. Yeah, because he started in 2002, I think. That's when they.
I thought he did well in the EPL.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2002, he busted out. Yeah, he did well. He played for Everton as well. He had a little spell for Everton and was quite successful, probably as successful there as with any European team that he played for.
Everton were kind of...
It's lucky we brought that up because he would have missed it.
Yeah, you know me, Barry. I'm never on top of my stats or my information. If anyone who's watched the podcast, you know me. I just blurt out random things, apparently. No research done at all. But Everton they were kind of that American club that... It's funny, we looked at Leeds a couple of years ago, right? As the America's team of Premier League with Jesse March and the other Americans, McKinney, right? Everton were kind of Leeds before Leeds in this era, weren't they, for you?
But just not quite to the extreme, right? With the manager that was also the American.
No American
you know, and it was just the 2 players that were American, I think, for them that were there at the same time. Clint Dempsey was at Fulham, so that was someone else that was kind of interesting to me. But Tim Howard's the man. Tim Howard is the man.
I've actually gotten to work with him a little bit.
Is that right?
Yeah, I work with NBC. I've sent him emails and stuff, which is cool, and I've seen him on shows and done research and stuff. It's really cool. He just joined the team a couple of years ago, I think.
I mean, goodness gracious, and he's still an amazing. I mean,
he's great on commentary, isn't he?
His commentary is spot on.
I think he joined the Premier. I think he joined NBC's Premier League team a little bit before I started working with NBC, so probably roughly like 4 years ago or so. And I remember when he joined, I was like, this is so good. Funny enough, really, I'll get into a story here. I'm going to tell the story first for a time, Barry, instead of doing my stats. Is when I first got my first interview with NBC, the head of research called me, and one of the questions he asked me was, what do you like about our show that's new? And my answer to him was, I love that you brought Tim Howard on, because he is going to pull in people from America who don't fully follow soccer, but they will know the name Tim Howard. And they'll see him, who has instant credibility, and I think he's going to do a great job as a commentator. And now it's so funny that here we are 4 years in, and we're like, yeah, he's crushing as a commentator and everything. I'm like, I love it. It's just a really full circle moment.
Sounds like you were a good hire.
I mean, look. I try to work hard, all right? Don't listen to what Barry's going to tell you. I do try to work hard, all right?
You hide it well.
There he is. I love it.
With Tim Howard, was he, I think when he played in one World Cup match, he had the most saves
against
in the
Belgium.
game.
I think he had 20.
Is he still?
I think it was like 26 or something. It was against Belgium. We lost in a knockout round.
I was at that game. That was in Salvador, Brazil, against
Belgium.
Belgium. Yeah, I'm sorry, but the goal scorer was Lukaku, who played for Everton. So it crushed my heart. I was like, oh my gosh! But
I remember,
Howard was.
We went to extra time that game. We went to extra time that game because
it had a chance to win.
I believe
Wondolowski.
Julian Green. Wasn't it Julian Green? That's supposed to be the young starlet for America that scored that game.
He was the guy who Klinsmann brought on and cut Landon and then saved our skin. We're so deceived.
We thought he would.
It was so close.
I remember that game. I remember he wasn't old enough to order a beer, but he was old enough to score at the World Cup.
Oh,
mental.
Amazing.
Absolutely mental.
We were so close to winning that match. And
we weren't. Tim Howard was. We were not.
True.
That game should have ended 30-0 if it wasn't for Tim Howard.
I don't know, man. There was still Wondolowski had a goal that he should have had, and we had a set piece right at the very end to draw even again in extra time that came so close to working, but
Do you know what's good about this? Because every time we get people on here, you're talking about a game, you're getting all excited about a game that happened years ago, but you can remember every detail. I can't remember details of my marriage or when I got married and the kids being born. Fucked if I know. But tell me something about soccer. Yeah, I got it.
No, Barry, that's okay. Those are less important things than the football, isn't it? Isn't it? Right? It's all about the football.
That's a top 3 soccer moment for me. Was that game in Salvador against Belgium? Yeah, I mean that was.
Well, on that note, what's the top soccer moment? Well, we're here.
Number 1. I mean, without a doubt, it's the game that probably everyone says is the most defining U.S. international soccer match. I happened to be at that one as well against Algeria and Pretoria, South Africa.
Oh my God, the goal.
The distribution from Tim Howard.
Everything.
Yep.
The goal.
The goal. God, I was right there in that corner after Landon scores.
You were there, the corner he slid into?
Yeah, absolutely. I was.
How were the limbs?
I was. What's that?
How were the limbs? Like the away limbs? Like all that.
It was nuts. I was on TV. My wife would say crying. I say I was welling up, but people didn't even know I had left for South Africa. We went on 1 day's notice to that World Cup. I was on TV and my phone just started blowing up. They're like, wait, are you in South Africa right now? But that match, oh my gosh, the partying after that match. What a
So how many World Cups have you been to?
4 World Cups. 4 World Cups.
You list them?
I went to United States, the one that was in the USA.
94, yeah.
Went to Germany. Went to South Africa. Went to Brazil.
I was at the Brazil one as well.
I mean, Brazil, hey, they're all great, but
the one that was in the United States, not being funny, did you know much about soccer then, or are you just getting into it?
So I played soccer all my life. I played as a kid, and I was into soccer. But that was the explosion into soccer for me. I went to a match. A friend invited me. It was like South Korea was playing,
Germany,
someone in
maybe.
Nigeria, I think. Or it wasn't a marquee matchup by any stretch of the imagination. But I went with him to that game. We're at the Cotton Bowl. Oh my gosh, the atmosphere, the drums. It was like I had never seen anything like that before. These guys just dying for their country, and I'm all my life I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yes, sir.
These guys, they come into the team, they leave the team, but they're your guys forever, and just
it's so different than other sports, isn't it? It's almost hard to describe.
Which is why when I talk about my favorite team, it's like the Everton guys, they come and go as well, but hey, once you're a United States full team player, you always are, and those guys don't change, and so they're like family. You get to see their entire career, and it's so unique. But that really, Barry, that's when it all blew up for me. I got so into it at that World Cup, and the rest is history. Nothing beats the World Cup to me. It's my favorite thing to do.
Because there was a lot of people at the Cotton Bowl, the World Cup, they knew nothing about soccer.
Nothing.
They went there, maybe it's like yourself, the atmosphere got them, the colour, the nationalities and the passion they saw. Now, when you go to a Dallas Cowboys game, I've only been to one. Like, I've been here 30-odd years and I've been to one game. And I watch them. I watch them on TV because I don't have a choice, really. Yeah. And I do watch them. But when you go to the ground, I'm not saying, just the atmosphere is so different. I think maybe because the game itself, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start.
Yeah.
But with soccer, it builds and builds and builds. A player gets sent off, there's a little scuffle, and it's brilliant.
I think it does go to talk about the difference between this passion for soccer and other sports, because I worked for the Dallas Cowboys, so I've been at every home game for the past 5 years. Obviously, I'm working it, I'm not attending as a fan, so it's a different perspective. But again, I've also been to the World Cup in Brazil, and I agree, the energy of the crowd feels different with soccer as compared to any other sport, and it's hard to really put words to that unless you experience it yourself. But I completely agree with what you're saying.
Is it because of the game itself? Because like I said, it's stop, start. With soccer, it's just it's a bit like hockey. It doesn't do that. It keeps building.
I think it could also be kind of what Michael here talked about, the connection with national teams in the World Cup with soccer of there is a sense of pride and nationalism involved in that. And for me, like, I'm 50% Polish, right? I'm rooting for Lewandowski every time he puts on that international jersey, and I've never been to Poland, but I feel a sense of pride of, like, being Polish and connecting with the soccer team that way of, like, my country, right? And, of course, with the USA, too. Obviously, I'm wearing a United States soccer jacket today. A lot of pride whenever the USA plays, and my friends I know share that same passion. And it is different, I agree, than the clubs, because with clubs you do have certain players that you can connect to, but you can't connect to every player like you can with the national team.
The thing about watching... This is what I like about soccer. You can watch a national team. There's not many sports where you can watch it, like Dallas Cowboys. There's not a national NFL, whatever you want to call it.
I think they're adding flag football to the Olympics soon, but that's brand new.
But with soccer, you can support any team in the world, but when your team plays, the whole country's together that follows soccer, and you can USA.
It's so
USA.
funny. I was going to say there's so much more on the line too when you talk about a World Cup game versus a garden variety Dallas Cowboy regular season match. I mean, we're talking every 4 years, and now we're talking 3 matches. Three matches to go on, you know?
I get that, but when they do win the Super Bowl, why do they call themselves world champion? The rest of the world thinks it's a joke.
I will say this because there is no other football league in the world that is even comparable to the NFL, that if any, I would venture to say this, and I'll double down, whatever. There is no other team that is better than any NFL, football team in the world better than the NFL. That's the best league. That is the most high-quality talent. So I think that they are the best in the world, ergo the world champions tag.
Still a bit of a push, world champions.
If you can, is there anyone better in the world?
It's not a world competition, but they are the world's best.
I agree.
Right.
There we go. I think that's the disparity, is that it's not a worldwide competition.
Hang on a minute. Larry, jump in here, mate. It's 2 against 1 at the moment.
Barry's looking for some. I think you have a good point, but I like what he said. It's the best in the world without it being a world game.
Everton, we've gone right off track. We've gone to USA.
I don't know. Aren't we right on track? Aren't we talking
I meant that, but I just want to.
I mean, that's the big stuff that's going on. I mean, you mentioned the U.S. We've got huge matches next week. A semi-final and a final. You know, I've never seen anybody raise a cup, much less the United States, and there's an opportunity to see that in 13 days.
Yeah. I mean, we did win a couple finals over Mexico in the past couple of years, to be fair.
I didn't see it. I've never seen one. I've never been there. I have a chance to actually see the United States raise a trophy, and I've never seen that. And you know, whether it's them or someone, I'm going to see someone raise a cup, and I've never seen it, and I can't wait.
That's going to be sick.
We've got Arsenal fans. Their whole life they've never seen it.
Actually,
there was a time back then.
I'm going to take the piss here, because the last time we won a trophy, Barry, it was actually beating your Chelsea team. 2-1 in an FA Cup final. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. I had that back pocketed. Don't worry.
I'll tell you what. You've thrown the gauntlet down. I'm ready for you today.
I can't wait.
Bag.
I can't wait. I love it.
Go ahead, bring it back to Everton, because Chelsea did take down Everton in an FA Cup. I think 2-1. 15 years ago, and that's the last time we ever threatened for any hardware whatsoever.
Yeah. Larry's over there saying the punches are being swung. I love it. I love when we get a little banter going.
15 years
no, we lost it to you guys. You can't even remember. We never win anything, but hey, at least we played for one. It was exciting.
Hey, Tottenham don't even get there. At least you got
That is true. Barry just absolutely stray for Tottenham fans, catching absolute strays. We weren't even talking about them. Tottenham fans just catching the most random strays on this podcast.
From a Tottenham fan, Alec Kettle.
That's part of the beauty of being an Everton fan, though. No one hates Everton other than Liverpool fans, but everyone, Arsenal guys are okay with them. Chelsea guys are okay. Everyone's okay with Everton.
Which team are you okay with apart from Arsenal? I don't say anything because I'm usually like that. Everton.
I'll tell you who I love this year is Luton. I love.
How
Luton.
can you not love Luton?
I love Luton Town, man. I think they're so much fun. I really hope they don't get relegated. I think they're so much fun.
I mean, just the stadium and how that all worked out. I mean, how can you not root for that story?
Like, they should never be a stadium like that in the Premier League, but there is. That's so much fun, and like they earn their way there, and it's so different than American sports because you have to basically buy your way into the top tiers in American sports, but they have to earn it, and it's brilliant.
I'll tell you why. I know why you two are getting along fine, because you two have got something in common. What's it like being the second best team in Liverpool? He has that with Arsenal in London. You two have got a lot in common. Second best team in the capitals.
You know the only difference between Arsenal and Chelsea is that Chelsea's table position has an extra 1 at the end of it as compared to Arsenal's. You're over there in 11th talking about the team in first being smaller than the team in 11th.
How many years have you waited for this?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
This is your Andy Warhol 15 minutes. Make the most of it.
I don't think it's going to be. I think you should be worried. If Arteta sticks around, buddy, we're going to be at the top for a while.
Another Everton
He's going
man.
to Man United.
I do love Mikel Arteta. Yeah, he is an Everton man.
So what is it like actually to be an Everton fan when you talk about about
Man,
Liverpool?
it used to be
must
cool. Now it sucks. I mean, we're getting our asses handed to us, and we have for 3 years. It's been this the first relegation year. What, maybe 2-3 years ago now? I can't remember. I mean. Oh, we had an Arsenal. The last game of the season was going to be against Arsenal, so we knew that was a loss. And then we went down. We were playing maybe Crystal Palace. It looked all to be over. We went down 2-0.
With Vieira in the fans in the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Came back and got 3 goals after the half somehow or other. And, staved off relegation
by like a point.
all season. I'm like, hey, it's making the season kind of fun. I mean, we're never we're challenging like for a Euro spot. We're never like challenging for a championship. It made it kind of fun, but you know what? That fun didn't really last. It's awful. It is awful watching your team like, oh my God, are we going to be in the league next year?
I mean, that must have killed you.
Dude, the point deduction, wow.
So obviously you had 10 taken away, 4 given back, so 6 taken away. But if you had those 6 points right now, I'm not trying to ruin your day here, you would be 2 places higher on the table in 14th, above Crystal Palace and above the 30-point mark. Basically, only Luton would be your real threat to potentially in that relegation fight, because I don't think Burnley and Sheffield with 14 points are doing anything this year.
They're down.
Yeah. So right now, I still love Sean Dyche. I love Sean Dyche as a manager. I think he is still the man to lead Everton forward. I know it's been 11 since you've had a win in the Premier League. I know it's been like 3 months, but I still have faith in him and your team to get in the league, to stay in the league, I would say.
You know, you watch them and you almost think, how can this be? How can this be? Like, even the game this past week, they actually played pretty well. And then when it's over, they lost 2-0.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I'll say this for Man United, they get away with it so much. And I will say the 2 penalties, I watched it. They were penalties.
Yeah.
But I would say the rest of the game, if you look at, I'm a stat nerd, if you look at field tilt and those statistics, other than the 2 penalties, Man United didn't create any chances, and Everton dominated that game, chance-wise, possession-wise, creation-wise. 2 moments of brilliance by Garnacho, Godfrey doing what he does best and ruining a game for you.
And yet here we are, right? And that's what happens. So Benjamin, I mean, ever since the 10 points were gone, all I kept doing was looking at the table, adding 10, and now I think we're pretty much set, and it's still a little bit scary, you know, but thank goodness they got the points back that they did, because if they didn't, oh my gosh.
I remember that was a 5-point draw for Dyche that week.
Oh my gosh.
But the game against Man United, watching that does give you a little bit more hope.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, they look like they can play, but look at this table. It's the same, and it's been the same for a long time now.
I think Everton are on 25 points. They're 4 points clear of the relegation zone right now in 16th.
I think that's it.
It is. It's Everton and then Forest, and then you get to relegation zone with Luton with 21 points. Everton 4 points clear. I think that you guys still make it. Do you? I know it's been 11 since a win. Do you still think that you make it out of this?
Yes, I think they're going to make it out of this. Especially once they got those 4 points back.
Yeah, I mean, that was meant.
But I'm not feeling as comfortable and as confident as you are talking about Arsenal winning the league.
We're in different spots here.
But but you know, you don't even really want to say it because it jinxes it, right? Like, I'm feeling pretty good about us staying up. Once you say that, like, why did I say that? I just totally jinxed the team at the end of the year.
If you talk about it, it jinxes it.
Yes, of course it does.
Okay. Arsenal going to win the league.
there it is.
Clip that. That's going on the Instagram. Love that. Finally, Barry, that's the smartest thing you've said in however many episodes we've done. That's the best thing you've ever said.
I've jinxed it.
Barry, do you think about Everton staying in the Premier League? How do you feel about that? You think they'll do it with Sean Dyche as the manager still?
Yeah, I think they do, because he's been through all that with Burnley and what have you. That little bit of experience that might matter over that last, just the final 2 games. Who knows? But just to keep, I think they will. Based on just what I saw over the weekend, and I don't get to watch them in the game, but I actually watched that game. United, they are so lucky in every sense of the word. They've been like that for weeks, and we've said that.
I've said that, yeah.
I'm looking at Chelsea, and they got a game in hand. I think we end up with. We win our game in hand. We're 5 points behind Manchester United, and we've got to play them yet.
That's mental.
And the way they're playing,
aren't you
they're
like
going to
in
slip
10th or something?
They're in 11th. Man United.
11th? Yeah.
The jump between 5th and 6th with Villa and Spurs to Man United, I actually wrote this down, that Tottenham are 6 points above Man United right now, between 6th and 7th, and they have a game in hand. So I think that the drop-off from the top 6 teams in the league to that Man United is a big jump.
Yeah.
And the table reflects that. And
That's
I think
why I
that
was
they have
wondering
been
why you're
lucky.
talking about Chelsea.
Because we're
Because they're
5
not that
points
far off of
behind.
them.
I mean, we won again last night. Now I use the word again.
One again. That's your second win in your
Again,
last
so
6
I can
league
use the
games.
word again,
Second
can't I?
in your last
I'm
6.
not wrong. The
Oh
word
my-
again
you're
can
right.
be used. Right.
You're so shameless. I have to respect
I'm
it.
about to poke you in the fucking eye.
I can't wait. So I do want to talk a little bit more about Everton and what's going on this season, because before the 10-point deduction, there were protests in the crowd, specifically against Arsenal. It was pre-planned, not just because of the result, but you had fans in the crowd with signs that said wasted potential on and off the pitch, weak decisions taking us backwards. How, as a fan, do you feel about Everton ownership? I know there's been an attempt to purchase it by 777 shareholders. That is still in the works. It's been kind of in the works for months, and we're expecting a decision by the end of this month. Do you think that that's going to go through? Do you think that's going to affect the club? And if so, how?
You know, I actually try to distance myself from that, not just with Everton, but with all the teams that I follow. Because there's so much uncertainty. You never, especially when it comes to English football, the rumors are always...
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere, and frankly, there's been rumors with Everton for a long time.
I heard a rumour they were going to win a game.
Almost as long as I've been following them. It's like, hey, what's our leadership like?
That was really good, Barry.
And unless you're winning championships, people are always questioning the leadership. So I don't really see it as all that different from things that have happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and nor do I really want. I don't want. I guess I don't necessarily want a Saudi sheik coming in, buying the team, and throwing money at it and turning it into
Newcastle.
Yeah.
Man City.
So I guess what that means is I like to suffer. I guess that's what that means. But it's a
maybe
little bit
not like it's
more
but
organic.
I think it's more so you want to do it the right way. And, you don't want to just have an injection of Saudi cash come in, kind of like some other clubs have, and you want to build a different way rather than just, we got super rich owners, we're up now.
So
Right?
the gratification is so much bigger if you can do it that way.
Yeah. Without
What's the
spending.
difference between Saudi cash going in there, which I don't like,
Yeah.
or these American
That's
hedge fund
it's a great
people
question.
putting their money in?
I think maybe I shouldn't have said Saudi cash. Maybe it's just more so just a straight injection of money and just we're going to win based off of our checkbook rather than developing talent and buying small players and turning them into superstars. I remember Arsene Wenger had a famous quote one time, here at Arsenal, we don't buy superstars, we make them. And I think that is so much more rewarding as a fan, too, to be like, look, we didn't go out there with the Chelsea money and spend $1 billion. We didn't go out there with Newcastle money and spend 700-odd million, right? We bought and developed players, which makes it so much greater, which I think is why we all love a story like Leicester, right? When Leicester won the league, I mean, I know, I wanted to win the league too, right? But if we didn't, we love that story because look what they came from and the money that they put into the squad. They would have a team that would be worth less than a player that Man City bought, and then they'd go beat them 3-0, right? I think that we love that story in sports too.
It's nice when they buy a player for, I don't know, $500,000, God knows what, and then they bring him on and they turn him into a superstar.
Absolutely.
And what's even better than that is when he's one of our own.
An academy player.
Yeah,
right?
academy player. He grew up 5 miles from the ground.
Reece James
That's
from
fantastic.
Chelsea, or Bukayo Saka at Arsenal. I'll tell you now, we see Bukayo Saka as our son. I get so nervous when he takes penalties, man, because it's that's our boy out there. We're gonna protect him as much as we can. So it does add a different aspect to the game and fanship, if you will.
Yes, it goes to what we were talking about earlier. You connect with these guys, and they're there. You're going to connect with the young lads as opposed to
Exactly.
the
And
hired
Everton
gun
have
who
got one
comes
at the
in who
moment.
may be gone in a year.
You've got one at the moment, Braithwaite.
Yeah.
I like him, and they're all hovering around him at the
a
moment.
lot of the big clubs. I've seen a lot of the big
And
names.
that's
linked
what
in.
happens with the best of Everton. You know, it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone club now, which is kind of sad. But
They can get back.
they've been known for developing and losing talent since Rooney, or before.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you look at they've sold Richarlison as a player recently that you've sold for big money and stuff like that, and it happens. But I do think that Everton can work their way back up.
When you
Agreed.
get someone like Rooney, especially as Braithwaite, even when you lose them, I think there's still a part of you that still follow them.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. When they come through your system, it's a different.
Yeah.
It's in someone like a Seamus Coleman who's played there for.
legend.
I like him.
I mean,
Everyone
goodness gracious, how can you not? I mean, from
he's
just
given everything Seamus Coleman.
Everything.
I mean, I like him actually.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys you can't not
Funny
like
enough,
him.
On that note, I remember following Theo Walcott when he went to Everton after Arsenal, and I was like, because Theo was one of the first when I got into Arsenal. He was in the team, obviously, he's a big player. I remember just loving the way he plays. So when he went to Everton, I was like, I see him scoring. And I'm like, go on then.
Right.
You know, you want to support him.
Yeah, you'll take pride in this.
One of the questions I want to ask you is the time when Everton actually, I think they made the Champions League and they couldn't play because of the Heysel Stadium disaster. They didn't get into Europe. No?
I don't know. Go.
This predates.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I don't know how old. Everton actually got into it might have been the top four, it might have been a different competition, but they got into Europe, and a lot of English teams were banned for Europe for I don't know how long. And Everton were one of them. They actually made it into Europe. They had a goalkeeper, Southgate or Southwell. They had a good team. They really had a good team. Duncan
Ferguson?
No. Yeah,
Duncan Ferguson. Yeah, Duncan
he
Ferguson.
was up front, and their goalkeeper was good. They had a really good midfielder.
He was their temporary caretaker manager for a bit.
Look into it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He was actually, but again, he was on the side of the field giving it all.
Yeah, he was known for being that. That's why I was saying when he came in to be the coach, they're like, "Oh Lord, help these players for what he's going to do to them in training."
But look into it because I know Everton actually got into Europe, and because of it was Liverpool that fucked it up for them in a different way, and it was because of a disaster. I understand why, but they never got into Europe because of all the English teams were banned.
On that note of Liverpool, and we talked about this a little earlier in the podcast, just Barry and I, but I want your take. How do you feel about the title race? Looking at, are you just like Man City or Arsenal? Please don't let them win, or how is he looking for you?
Okay, it's kind of funny. Man City's a little bit of a pet team for me because my brewing sensei, he jumped on the Manchester City bandwagon before the sale and all that back when they were nothing, and so I've enjoyed that. So I actually like seeing them win, but I want to see Arsenal win this thing. Like, I really do.
Michael, you're welcome on here anytime you want, buddy. You are welcome to come join this podcast whenever.
I like how they do it. I like the team.
Right.
They haven't done it in a long, long time. I've got a buddy who's
didn't have to say long twice there.
Yeah,
didn't have to say long twice.
So I definitely would like to see Arsenal take it all.
And former Evertonian Mikel Arteta.
I mean, he's one of the legends too. Back that same time frame. Yeah, I mean,
that's two guests in a row. Rangers and an Everton fan that both love Mikel Arteta, Barry.
Yeah. A Rangers fan, he didn't pay a penalty for wanting Arsenal to win.
Yeah.
You're going to pay a penalty. We are not going to mention Peticolas Brewery at all in this podcast.
Hey,
okay?
we don't need to.
Don't mention Peticolas Brewery.
We're here to talk football, not beer.
Peticolas Brewery.
They go together, but hey.
So you want Arsenal to win. Obviously, you're a smart man because of that. Predictions for the bottom half of the table. Do you think it's the three that are there now, or do you think that Forest or even Everton potentially go a little closer there?
I'm a little worried about Forest.
Yeah.
And actually, let me clarify. I want Arsenal to win. I think Manchester City, once all said and done, is going to win it.
That's fair. I think they're the odds bookie-wise favorite, too.
But, yeah, I think...
You're laughing down in the 11th, Barry. Save me. Spare me.
Yeah,
we take a year off.
The bottom two can't make it.
A year?
I could take 2 years off.
There you go. That's more like it.
Hey, the King of England's taken time off. Everybody takes time off.
Does the King of England ever work?
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
All right, sorry, I completely interrupted you, Michael. Keep going.
Lost my track. The two bottom teams. Yeah, it's done. It's over for those two. Yeah, Sheffield and Burnley are gone.
Luton have 21.
Luton, I think
Everton
Luton
have 25,
escape.
and then Nottingham Forest are in between them.
Yeah, I'm worried about Forest.
Yeah. And I don't get their recruitment. We talked about American soccer. How about Reyna going there and he's played 39 minutes and even make the bench last time?
What a disaster.
Why would he make the move? If he wasn't guaranteed minutes, why do that? Do you want to not playing in Germany, to not playing in...
Apart from making a move, why would they take him?
That's what I don't get too. That Nottingham Forest, I remember last year, they signed 30 first-team players in the summer. They didn't have enough spaces in the dressing room for all the players. I don't get their recruitment style. I think that was a bad move for Reyna and for the club, to be honest. It's a waste of money.
Agreed. I mean, terrible move for Reyna. It's only gotten worse. It's almost like maybe Berhalter was onto something because ever since
I don't know. When he plays
December,
for the country, he looks pretty good, though. Whenever he does play for these states, he does look pretty good.
He does, actually, yeah.
After that World Cup, he's done nothing. He went back to Germany and couldn't get on the pitch.
He was all the time playing for
Dortmund. Now he should be getting. I mean, come on! If you
can't get into the Forest team who's fighting relegation,
if you're not getting into that, it's you. You know,
at some point,
I'm not, buying it anymore. He's been like my favorite guy. Like, hey, this is going to be our guy. This is going to be our guy. This is going to be our number one player. He's the best guy we've got. And now I'm like, no, I mean, this guy, I don't know if it's a mental thing or what it is, but if he can't get on the pitch for Forest, dude, you got to look at yourself. This isn't a Forest thing. And he wasn't getting on the pitch at the last stop either. He's running out of time to get the ship righted.
Yeah. Speaking of Americans, the World Cup, obviously. How excited are you that it's coming back to the stage? And just talk on that for a minute.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, well, like we touched upon, we've got these two Nations League semifinal and finals next week.
Coming up here in
And
Dallas.
then we've got Copa America this summer.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
I'll be there too.
We've got a World Cup dress rehearsal
Basically.
here. Yeah, I'll be at the Bolivia game. I'll be at the quarterfinal.
I'll be there too, yeah.
I'll hit you up.
Definitely.
But oh my gosh, building and hopefully the U.S. can actually do something.
That's what I'm saying. How good of a chance do you think the U.S. will have? And Barry, this extends to you too. Do you think the U.S. will be a player come the 2026 World Cup? Because I know for us right now, I feel like our ceiling at every World Cup is, look, let's just get out of the group stage. Let's get to the knockout rounds. That is a win.
That's the hard part, though, because they're obviously going to be a young team anyway. They are. And you're going to get a little bit of experience, hopefully, with these games in the Copa America and the other tournaments you go to. But being in the World Cup and being in your own country, the pressure on you is unbelievable. It's I don't know how they cope with it. It's just you've got to get through them. You've got to get to the knockout stage. That's just the minimum, really, isn't it?
That is,
but that home turf, that's what that pressure, man. That's what carries a team, isn't it? But didn't England win it the only time they ever had it? Right. But that's the only time they ever won it, was when they hosted it. Didn't Russia, who is nothing, make it to the semi-final?
Yeah, the semis.
They're nothing. Didn't Morocco, who pretty much was a home team at this last World Cup, also make the semifinals? So you're saying
we're going to give Morocco respect. They have a lot of talent on that roster. Morocco is a sneaky roster.
They did, didn't they?
They are loaded.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're playing at home and they're.
But agreed, I will say they were not a favored team going up against the likes of Portugal and stuff. I completely or
they
Spain,
were not, especially before that tournament started.
So are you saying USA is going to get to the semifinals of the World Cup?
I want to see my goal. If I'm being like completely realistic, I want to see the US win at least one knockout game in the 2026 World Cup. Obviously, I'd love for us to go and go crazy. But I need to see us take that next step, which I haven't seen.
No, that's not far enough. That's not far enough.
You want more? I respect it.
It's no fun watching you.
No, it's not far enough. And I actually think the best time to answer that question is going to be after the Copa America. I mean, these guys, when the Copa America was played here in 2016, we made the semifinals and lost to Argentina. That's nothing to sneeze at. So if somehow they could win that tournament, if they win the Nations League and then they somehow win the Copa America, they will be riding higher than they have ever been riding in the history of United States soccer. And what better platform do you want to jump off of than that? So, hey, they've got some work to do next week and then this summer, but I think we can answer that question a little bit more squarely after that tournament.
You look when the World Cups, I remember with America, Alexi Lalas and them, and they played. I think they played against Iran. Was it in Germany or somewhere? And they were just college kids and but they did fantastic. Even to get there and do what they did, I know they did, but it's the same as now. They're getting every 4 years, they're getting better and better, and they're getting more used to it, and they're able to actually compete more than they have in the past. I think
too that now we have more Americans abroad than we ever did before.
Exactly,
you look, and not just, and I don't just mean in Europe. I'm talking at big clubs in Europe. Look at Ozzy Pulisic, formerly of Chelsea, at AC Milan, now scoring this weekend. Weston McKennie's playing for Juventus. Timothy Weah playing for Juventus, right? These are all players that are not only hitting the scene, but hitting the scene at big clubs. And I think that is something that is so important, because it's one thing just to play in Europe and get that experience, but to play for these big clubs gives you such a bigger stage to play on and to be able to be ready for the pressure.
What you Americans do not appreciate, okay, is how us Europeans educate you. Not just in soccer, in the language itself, So I think you need to appreciate us Europeans a little bit more.
All right, Michael, I want to say thank you for being here, and I want to wrap up with one more thing. Barry and I, earlier in the show, we talk about the best number 9 that we've ever seen in our lives, or just before our lives, whatever, that we think we've seen. I wanted to get your best number 9, best striker.
Most clinical, I think, or best, whatever.
Yeah, clinical, best, whatever you want to call it. But I want to get your take on this as we wrap up here.
That's a tough one. Ibrahimovic just kind of comes to mind.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
I guess I'll go with that. That's a tough one. There's a number to put on that list, but the thing I always liked about him was he could follow up what he said, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he does let people
oh,
know.
God.
Oh, and he talks. Oh, does he talk?
Yeah.
Those
And normally
Ibrahimovic.
you would hate a guy like that, but when you go out and you execute after doing that, there's just this extra level of respect I have for that dude. And oh my gosh, you talk about a technician. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you're a soccer supporter, which obviously we are, we all talk shit when we're in a bar and we all do that. It's great to hear one of them's talking. You know, as I said, he can back it up.
Yeah, this is the story for Ibrahimovic. For those that don't know, he played for LA Galaxy, obviously, for a bit here in the MLS. And when he left LA Galaxy to go back to AC Milan a couple years ago, he took out a full-page ad in the LA Times and simply wrote, "You're welcome," signed Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So that's an absolute. I think that's a great answer. Michael, thank you again for being here today and just chat. Oh, you got one more, Barry? Go for it.
I want that on my headstone. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're
Barry
welcome.
Tate.
Yeah, bollocks to it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Michael,
I
thank
really
you guys so
enjoyed
much,
it.
man. It's great having you on. And again, since you wanted Arsenal to win, you're welcome anytime on this podcast.
Yeah, we'll have you back.
Thank you. All right. You said you had a story you wanted to share today.
Yeah, I as I said, this podcast is obviously mainly about soccer, but it's street life, growing up in London, London life, call it what you want. But in life, we get up, we all get ups and downs, and we get you can look back at your life, and there's some good years, some bad years. After I stopped working in the market, I opened up a wine bar and a French creperie. I turned an old railway station in London into a wine bar and creperie. We'll get into that later, but after 3 or 4 years, that was going down the pan, and I got a fella came in as a partner. We turned it into a nightclub.
Okay.
So you can open at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So in a nightclub, you need a doorman. So my partner at the time, he brought in a doorman. He knew, because he knew the area. And the doorman's name was Ray Hill.
Ray Hill.
Big bastard.
Yeah.
He just got out of prison for armed robbery.
Okay. Oh, my God.
He was our doorman. And the reason I'm telling you this is, one night I'm behind the bar, and there was a fight outside. And I'm behind the bar, and the waitress, Ray said to keep it out. She hands me a gun. This is 40-odd years ago. Guns were, you didn't get them on the streets of London.
It was in
So I got it, I'm
switchblades.
putting it in the bar, and I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on out there?
Who's giving you a gun?
Anyway, there was a fight outside, and there was a drunken Scotsman. He pulled out a gun, fired it into the air, and the bullet went through the window of the woman in the house opposite. It just missed her head, it embedded in the wall. She only called the police, the bitch. Yeah, can you believe that? Anyway.
Yeah, it didn't even hit her, right?
Next
Oh my
morning,
God.
7 o'clock, I'm at home, there's a knock on the door.
Yeah.
2 policemen. Mr. Tate, do you own the bar around the corner? Yeah, no. So anyway, cut a long story short, they're talking about, do you know anything about a gun being discharged outside your premises? I said, no. I said, there was a fight outside. I said, my doorman broke it up. And they said, well, who's your doorman? I said, well, his name's Ray Hill. And they all looked at each other. They knew
They
it.
know
They
the
knew
name,
it.
yeah.
And he said, well, can you and Mr. Hill meet us round the bar tomorrow night? Yeah, okay. So when they've gone, I've called Ray. I said, oh, Ray, the old Bill's just paid me a visit. They want us to meet us tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock tomorrow night, we're in there. They come in. We sit at a table. Mr. Hill, we understand you were working on the door on Saturday night. Yeah, I was working the door. He said, and there was some trouble. Yeah, he said there was a fight outside there and all that. He said, do you know anything about a gun being discharged? Bear in mind, he's just got out of prison for armed robbery.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know. What's the gun sound like? One policeman looked at the other. He said, we're wasting our fucking time. And they got up and left.
Oh, my God.
It's funny now.
Oh,
but
my God.
Them years of owning that bar and that were the worst years of my life. It probably didn't help my marriage at all.
Yeah.
It was, but it's a story now. But
Oh, my
that was
God.
Just, we got. It's not just going to be the market. I'll tell stories about the club and God knows
No,
what,
I
but-
love that. That's a good
Yeah.
Lord. He's just like, no, I got no clue.
Yeah,
I
the
got no
policeman,
clue.
they said, I don't know, what's the gun sound like?
What's a
Anyway,
gun
if
sound
you-
like after getting out of armed robbery?
I was watching a show the other night, The Hard Men of Britain.
Yeah.
Ray Hill came on it.
Really?
Yeah, if you Google Ray Bang Bang Hill,
Bang, bang.
he's been inside so many times. He spent most of his life in jail.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, so he was my doorman.
All right, Barry, let's wrap up with everyone's favorite segment, Wanker of the Week. I want you to start by explaining where the word comes from, like you promised you would.
I'm going to, because Wanker of the Week, so we use the word, hey, wanker, all that.
Yeah.
So evidently, it all starts in World War One, when World War One, they had obviously that, and all the men, they're in the barracks, and you got 50 men in bunk beds, if not 100 men. 100 men in bunk beds. You've got 50 bunk beds, these old metal bunk beds they used to have. Lights went out, all of a sudden you hear wank, 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 wank. That's what it is. It's the noise the beds used to make. And he's having a wank, and that's where it's come from. It makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it actually does. And I had no clue. I love that. That's the history lesson I get today.
That's it.
That's right. My parents are going to be so proud when they listen to this episode of what I learned today.
Yeah. I mean,
Hi, Mom.
you can ask me any questions, where
Sorry,
the weight
Mom.
come from. You can talk to me. Yeah. You can talk to me about Shakespeare. Any question in the world, ask me.
Shakespeare. I love that you just went from the description of where the word wank comes from to I'll talk Shakespeare too. You are truly...
He never used that word.
Who?
Shakespeare.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't. I don't think he would. Maybe he did. Maybe Shakespeare had a wank back in the day.
Then.
No, all right, fair play. So, Barry, who is your wanker of the week, or would you like me to start?
Kai Havertz.
Go on. Yeah, please.
Because he cheated.
Did
he did no shame.
No shame.
I mean, if he gets a medal, which he won't, okay, do they do runners-up medals in the league?
No.
Well, when he gets his runners-up medal, he'll have to have it printed.
I was actually, funny enough, I was looking, I got back in town this week, I was in Georgia, and my sink was making a really funny noise, so I looked down and I found $60 million down the drain, because Kai Havertz scored again, actually.
No,
so,
did you really?
Yeah, $60 million down the drain.
Did you call in? Did you get the plumber in?
Yeah, I had to let him know that, just another one for my king Kai.
No, just to get the plumber in. I mean,
Yeah. I love that I love how much
probably take him a year to fix
I'd be fuming too if my team sold our best player to your rival. We took Chelsea's best player, by the way.
When did you think of that little...
Oh, that's the song that Arsenal fans sing for Kai Havertz since beginning of the year. Like
60 million down the drain?
It's to the tune of Shakira's Waka Waka. If you was 60 million down the drain.
See, I didn't know.
Kai Havertz scores it again.
I'm sitting there thinking, the kid's getting good. But evidently it's not. You just something.
No,
I
got my pulse on the finger.
You plagiarised it.
Yeah, I got the finger on the pulse of the fan base, if you will.
Right, from me and this, I will fucking
let me give my wanker of the week. Let me give my wanker of the week.
Do you think they listen to you?
I sure hope so. That's why we're here.
Go on then.
I was going to say Luis Diaz for Liverpool.
That was worth
I thought that he could have scored a hat-trick against Man City. I'm very glad he didn't. I'm very glad he didn't, and the game ended in a draw, so maybe I shouldn't have given it to him. But I think that after that game, he's going to be kicking himself a bit. Because he was brilliant. He was putting Walker on strings.
And Liverpool, Nunes is coming on strong as well.
I'm a big fan of Darwin. I think he's a very likable personality. I think he's a very...
Oh, I like it because actually, we mentioned earlier on... The Swede, Inter Milan, AC Milan.
Zlatan.
He can sometimes be a bit like that. He was a bit mouthy and whatever, but he had the talent to go with it.
Of course.
Because he's got
he's young.
He's going to get sent off a few more times.
Oh yeah, he got that one red card a year ago. I remember.
He'll have one. But he's coming on good.
I'm a big fan.
I think Nicholas Jackson might end up a bit like him as well. He started a bit slow and he was a bit more because he keeps mouthing off as well. Mm-hmm. So I think he might if he.
If Nicholas Jackson. When he's offside, he turns into prime Ronaldinho. So, if he could just do that while keeping his lines a little bit, I think he'd be a lot better for y'all.
Yeah, no, another year.
I think there's some potential there for sure.
So you finish now? Can I sign off?
Yeah, now you can do your sign off. You're trying to cut me off.
I was going to sign off.
If I cut your wanker,
do it.
Thank you.
Anybody want to come on the show and take my place and work with the septic? Let me know.
Or if you want to take Barry's place, come let me know.
That's what I said.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.